Hi, everybody. Welcome to MS Confidential, a webcast series consisting of candid conversations on navigating the chaos of living with multiple sclerosis. My name is Lisa, and I have the privilege of working with one of our panelists, Elizabeth Jameson. And my role today is just going to help with any questions that you all might ask in the chat box, so please feel free to do so. We will be getting to those a little bit later, and we will do our best to answer as many as possible during the Q&A, which will probably be in about 20 to 25 minutes. I do want to note that because these conversations are designed to be candid and unfiltered, it also means it might get a little bit colorful, raw, intense even. So we just want to make that announcement in the beginning. Today's discussion is an interesting one. It's Vanity, and it'll be taking place between our four panelists, Elizabeth Jameson, Annie Brewster, Jessica Olair, and Kyle Cronick. So we might as well get started. I'm going to go ahead and ask Annie to please introduce herself.
Perfect. Thank you. So I am Annie Brewster, and I am a physician, and I'm also a patient. I've had MS since 2001, and I feel very lucky to be a part of this panel with these other amazing people. And Vanity, let me see. I'm just going to say my initial thoughts on it. I generally don't think of myself as a vain person. I'm so not a primper, and I don't really have to, I can't be bothered with shopping or trying to wear, I don't know. It's not my thing. But in thinking about this, I realized that for me, vanity takes a different role. I think I am sort of obsessed with appearances in a way, not necessarily just physical, but sort of appearance of being competent physically and mentally. And that's something that I've been very attached to. And I think for me in the beginning of being diagnosed with MS, that was really fed my secrecy. I was really secret about my diagnosis, and I felt a lot of shame about it for a long time. And I think that was fueled by that vanity. So that's all I'll say for now. We could talk more about it. I'm going to pass it over to Kyle.
Hey there. My name is Kyle Cronick. I have been living with primary progressive multiple sclerosis for 10 years, since I was 21. I am a student going back to school this fall at Western Carolina University for communications. And I'm stoked to be a part of this panel. All of these ladies are so lovely. And Jessica, I think, is here. I'm going to pass it on to her. I'll wait to talk about vanity till we get this conversation rolling.
Oh, I think there she is. Hi,
there's
Jessica.
Sorry, catastrophe happened. I don't know what happened. I'm pretty sure I'm on my iPhone. So sorry, everyone. Everyone can see and hear me, correct?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So my name is Jessica. I was diagnosed with MS in 2012, a relapsing remitting form. I have stayed, so far, I've still stayed with the remitting stage. I am an artist and a scholar. As of right now, I'm currently getting everything together for PhD applications and 2 residency applications. And I'm here, part of this project, which is so amazing. Yes, that has been a consistent undercurrent of something that has really been very, very challenging as a person living with a chronic illness. So that's all I'll say about that in this moment, and we'll talk further. I'm not sure who I'm supposed to pass it on to.
Elizabeth.
Oh, Miss Elizabeth. It's your turn.
I am an artist, a lawyer, and I'm up to progressive MS. Been diagnosed with MS for over 20 years, and I've gone through the use of a cane, to a scooter, to a walker, to a baby wheelchair to now I'm in a huge industrial wheelchair. And now I have a really tricked out wheelchair that's really cool that only people who are quadriplegic allowed to allowed to use or get financed. I'm really loving what tricked out wheelchair I have. Seeing I'm the elephant in the room, so it better be a good elephant. And in terms of Vanity, how I am vain, I'm so vain. And I'm more disabled I become, more vain I become. And I'll stick to a light story. I can get into a heavy story, but right now I'll begin with a light story. I was giving a talk, and I went and ordered a really, really expensive scarf. And unfortunately, my husband saw the bill and he said, "Oh my God, why did you buy that expensive scarf?" I think I need it in order to not look less disabled. Gorgeous scarf. Oh, look at the scarf, not at me. And he started laughing so hard. He almost passed out. He laughed so hard. Saying, "Honey, you're disabled, and no scarf is gonna save the fact that you look like a quadriplegic. Your arms are contracted. You're in a wheelchair, tricked out wheelchair, as I said before." But I went and kept the scarf, used the scarf, great. And it goes to show I don't feel disabled until I see myself. When I see myself, I go, "Who is that woman? She's really disabled, but I don't feel disabled until I see myself." So I don't have mirrors in my house. That's where I get along. So it's so interesting. I really don't take on the persona of being disabled.
Me
What
either.
that means, I don't know. If I really loved myself, probably wouldn't need an expensive scarf in order to distract the image of my being disabled. But anyway, I'll throw out to the rest of you. You tell me your initial thoughts.
You got to treat yourself. I'm glad you bought that expensive scarf.
Well,
I-
I'll put my husband there.
I think it's important to do those things. I agree with Kyle. You do have to treat yourself, you know. Yes, I agree. I was like a platitude, but I'm not. You know, we deserve to feel good, you know, and hopefully our pathways to feel good are safe and healthy, of course, hopefully. But good for you in that scarf. I bet the scarf is beautiful. I'm sure it aids to your beauty. So, you know.
Well, when we were talking about this topic, Jessica and Kyle, you both said yes, you want to talk about vanity. So please back me up. Tell me you vain too, or you're not vain. Just back me up.
Elizabeth, I'm with you 100% in that I don't feel like I'm disabled, although I am now a wheelchair user. I can get around with a walker, but I don't see myself as a disabled person, and I am very vain too. I saw a lot of that when I was dating and using dating apps and stuff, and I would never post pictures of myself that showed my mobility aids. I would always hide that because people are always looking for the best because people are vain. So I would hide that. And I remember when I was doing, thank goodness I'm not doing those awful dating apps anymore, but I did post pictures eventually of me sitting in my walker, sitting in my wheelchair, and it was amazing. The amount of responses that I got drastically went down instantly because I posted those pictures of me being disabled.
I'm sorry.
Well, it's a shitty world. People are vain.
Yeah, they are. You know, what's funny, the picture that is on the Unfixed website, which is amazing. This is not about to be a slight at all to the website, but my profile picture for that site, that picture was taken years ago, which is fine, here nor there. But in that moment in time, I was having consistent issues with eye droop because of it. And I have no idea if people can actually see it, but my eyelids are uneven. And I'm like, everyone can see it.
Oh, yeah.
And I feel, it just makes me feel like everyone can see it, but no one's going to say anything. And it makes me feel even more vulnerable. But I will say, you know, specifically post-diagnosis, I would say I am vain, you know, like I have no problems with makeup and all that at all. I don't, you know, that's great, that's fine. But I've never been that woman to have all the makeup and do all of those things, you know. And of course you compare yourself like a lot of people do. And I'm like, you know, I'm all right looking. You know, it's like I'm no Rihanna, but it's like, oh, that's exciting. But in comparison to these other women, I'm like, oh, but I'm not her. I don't have like this beautiful makeup and all these other aesthetic things for a variety of reasons because I'm tired.
Yeah.
And right?
MS.
Right. Yeah, because honestly, like I'm tired, and I'm tired because I'm trying to like keep up with everything and keep everything together because of my diagnosis, right?
Yep.
Like, and on top of that, I already put a lot of work into like my academic stuff. So to me, it's just all these things are happening. It's like, well, to me, like a lot of my great in my work. And also I'm like, you know, dang, like I want to be that pretty girl, which is silly because you don't have to like wear a bunch of makeup and do all of these things to be beautiful. So it's a lot of things that continue to happen that have been happening for like 9 years of just feeling kind of regular.
Mm-hmm.
I think you're so beautiful. I just want to say you are. I see that anyway. Here's what I'm thinking. I'm wondering, like, is vanity a bad thing? I mean, to me, like, I'm trying to figure out what it really means. And I guess I have negative connotations with the word. Like, I think vanity feels kind of empty and like the opposite of self-love. Like, if we really love ourselves and come to accept ourselves, we're not vain. But maybe I'm misunderstanding what vanity means. Is vanity a bad thing or a good thing? Or what does it really mean? I don't know.
No.
I use it to be good. I don't know, like for my birthday last weekend, I was what you would call extra. And I wore some red shoes. I wore some red shorts. I wore a red jacket. And I was like, look at me. I look good.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
And I got confirmation of that. So,
yeah.
Hey.
That's
See,
awesome.
see, first of all, happy belated birthday.
thank you.
But I think that brings up a really good point that I think is directly, at least for me anyway, please tell me your thoughts. Vanity is connected to like validity, to people like looking at you and giving you
100%.
but it's like, right? And I think that it's, maybe let me reword that. I think it's like, I think it's more of something that we as humans, or maybe more specifically that I see, that like, wow, good job, or wow, you know what I mean?
Absolutely.
And I feel like I literally feel my body like sinking in, because it sounds so, I don't know. What you say?
Vain?
Yeah. But it's like, it's deeper than that. Or maybe it's, I don't, it's something, and it's hard.
Yeah,
I've been doing a lot of,
we need vanity for that. For me, at least, I need the vanity for self-acceptance, which might be sad to say, but it is what it is.
yeah. And I think it's just, at least in my experience, I took up this contract job, which is whatever, but it allows me to really just think and reflect, because the work isn't mentally demanding. So I found that I'm really like just in my head. And I found that it's hard not to get that acknowledgement, especially when your life is already tempered with a chronic illness, when your life is tempered in mess. So it's like, I'm always like thinking, you know what I mean?
Oh, yeah.
Because it's just like, we work so hard. Like, I could literally be crying right now. Like, for example, we're talking about visual things. The fact that my stupid screen is different than y'all's, because my stupid iPad like went crazy, like it's driving me crazy. Like, I feel like I'm like this sore thumb to this beautiful project, and it's like giving me a headache. I don't know, man.
You fit right in with this disjointed project. I mean, we are all disjointed. I feel like that gives it even more.
Yeah. Well, okay.
Well, Kyle, I'll say this. I wish I had enough like pizzazz to like put on red shoes and get all dollied up. I don't have that. So I think that's great that you can do that. I'm wondering like how, as your body changes, your definition of vanity or your sense of self as a physical being, how that changes.
It has been changing so rapidly for the past 10 years. I mean, 10 years ago, I used to be a runner, a hiker, a surfer, a mountain biker, and now I am none of those things. So I can't be vain about that. I can't be like, oh, I'm an amazing mountain biker. I'm an amazing surfer. Like, look at how physical. And so I have to find new ways to be vain, I guess.
Kyle, I don't want to ignore what you just said. But I want to go back to what I want to say is I am really proud of my MS. I know it sounds strange, but I really like my MS. I ate it lots of times also. I don't feel one thing, my MS, but I feel like it's my friend, it's a part of me. And I want to like myself. So behooves me to really make room for my MS. So I want to look good for my MS and for me and my ego. And I want to represent MSs. Like, hey, we can just do whatever we want.
Yep.
If we can. So I don't know what vanity means, but I don't want to look downtrodden and sad.
Me
and
either.
depressed.
Yeah, me either.
I think that's a good way to put it. Yeah. I strive for that, to make friends with my MS. But I do think the way we carry ourselves makes a difference. And maybe that's vanity. The outward appearance that we put to the world
Oh yeah.
makes a difference. Yeah. And maybe that just means smiling or
Mhm.
wearing a nice scarf, whatever it is. Or it changes all the time, like what we can do.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's beautiful how your relationship, erase the house, sorry. I think it's beautiful how you frame your relationship to MS, Elizabeth. I mean, in general, I think that I think it's important to hear how those who are living with MS, what their relationship is like with it, regardless of what that may look like. But I think it's fantastic. It seems like it really serves you. And I think that the serving is the most important part. I mean, I feel like I'm the opposite. I'm in this moment of like being present, being a part of projects that directly relate to my diagnosis. And also I'm pretty much in this moment disassociating.
Yeah.
So
I'd sort of agree.
like I'm not.
Yeah. I'm also like, I sort of, I'm not there yet. I strive for that, to be where you are, Elizabeth, in terms of wanting to make friends with my MS. But I guess where I started with by saying, like, for me, vanity is about competence, whatever that means. I don't know what that means. But I think it's about pride, and I think it relates to my inability or difficulty, I'll say, to ask for help and let people in.
Oh yeah.
And that is an outward appearance thing. It's not necessarily like the same as vanity, but it kind of is. But for me, that's how I'm thinking of it. And so for me, I think of it as something that I want to move beyond, because I do want to learn, like, I don't have to always look like I can do everything and figure everything out. And that sometimes it's okay to, I don't know, look less than strong. And that's something I struggle with, I guess.
That's the thing. Like I hate feeling incompetent, or that other people think I am incompetent. That show The Sopranos from years ago, there was a scene where Junior Soprano comes down with cancer, and he tells Tony Soprano, he says, "Don't tell people I'm sick. They treat you differently. They treat you like a non-entity."
They do.
I felt that so much. And so I try to give the appearance of I'm just fine. Like, it's no thing.
Yeah. Yeah. I definitely, like Annie, what you said, I feel like that's very much where I am. And Kyle, I guess what all of you said, like all of it. Like I understand, it's just, again, like multiple things are happening at once. I'm happily here doing this work, saying, "Hi, hello, I'm Jessica. I have multiple sclerosis." And I'm also here like, I don't want anything to do with it at the exact same time.
Me too, exactly. Like split personality.
But oh my gosh. And we'll see, I'm this like 34-year-old woman. I'm still considerably young, so much to learn, right? I don't think that this moment is wrong, but I definitely think that what you said, Annie, I'm like, oh shit, that's what I'm doing. Like I'm like, I can do it. I can do it. I can do it, because for myself and for the outside world, I want to prove that I can do it. For example, for like a short second, I'm not going back because I'm just not. I was doing warehouse work because I was like, I can do it. I can do hard things. And I did do it. And also, working in a warehouse for Amazon it's a really unhealthy environment. And what they want us to put our bodies through is ridiculous. But if I wanted to go back, I could, and I'm not putting my body through that, right? And they don't know about my health stuff. Why would I tell them anything? But it's like outwardly, it's like, oh, just another person who can do this really physically, really difficult work. But I was there, right? Probably won't be going back, but I was there, right? Competent enough to like do the thing that was just overly, just way too demanding for what they were asking. But it's like I was there.
Yeah.
Like I quit. You know what I mean?
I feel like there's some balance. Like I think there's some positive from that grittiness, right? And that pushing ourselves forward and that wanting to be strong. But then there's also the, like, I feel like letting ourselves be true to who we are and be authentically ourselves. It's hard. That sounds like such an easy thing to say. It's really hard. And to me, that's where I'm thinking about vanity. It's like the shell. That's why I'm trying to define what it means. Because I think, Kyle, yours is like a cool, like, I'm going to deck out and like, I don't know, like accent myself and bring myself more out. And I'm thinking of it as more as like a shell that I'm hiding behind maybe, and that I maybe want to break through that. I don't know if I'm even making sense.
You're making sense.
Can you actually say more about that? About the shell that you're, I'm interested in.
Well, I guess it's like outward, it's like external versus internal appearances, what the world sees of me versus what's really inside, and what's the interplay between those two things. And the vanity to me is sort of caring what that external piece looks like, which is important, but sometimes I'm hiding behind it. I don't know, maybe, definitely.
But it's like, yeah, I mean, but it's like, what, it's like, what, again, I am thinking literally in this moment as a 34, this is where I'm at. It's like, what else am I supposed to do? You know what I mean? Like
that's a good question.
Like I can't, like I cannot re-experience what I experienced in the first 9 years of my diagnosis. I am disassociating, pushing it away. So it's like, it's like I have piece of like, wow, like, yes, I can do these things and I must do these things because I want to get there. I want to do those things. I want to live my life and experience joy and tackle these other goals and smile and laugh and whatever and be hot and sexy, but it's like I also trying to thought, dang it, my witty banter. Oh yes, just oh dang it, I forgot.
I'm curious, like you guys, like Kyle and Jessica, Elizabeth and I we're like married old women. No, I'm just kidding. We're not really that old. But you guys are like young and out there and like dating. So how does that, I'm really curious, like with MS as a young person that's like dating, what is that like?
Oh, it's a shit show, I'll tell you.
Right.
How do you mean?
I mean, I've run the gamut with relationships and stuff. I've been married, got divorced. I'm only 31. But honestly, I had such good experiences with dating, and the new way of dating, and all of it is electronic. It was a good way for me to introduce my MS to people before meeting them, before they had an idea of what they thought I was, just looking at a picture of me and my disability. So it gave me.
That's so interesting. Like, say more, like to be able to like deliberately introduce it. What's that process like? That's fascinating to me.
It was interesting. I would play a game with people. I would play 2 truths and 1 lie. And one of the truths was that I've left the country to go for a stem cell treatment in Panama. Most people thought that was a lie. And then I was like, well, let me tell you about it. and I was able to introduce my MS, and there was generally nothing but admiration from people. But at the same time, a lot of people were like, okay, so that's what you're dealing with, not what I'm looking for. But they weren't upfront about it. They would just ghost me.
Mm.
It's a different world in dating in 2020 and beyond.
Jessica, what's your experience like?
You know, it's not all tragedy, but it's just not. I mean, in my experience, it's not, but it is, it's not the funnest thing. You know what I mean? It's not, I wish it was something that wasn't a part of the thing, you know, like I'm very much single now, you know, my heart is very much broken in this moment. You know, I remember when I did tell this person that I had MS, he did say that it scared him.
Mm.
And we didn't really have any other further conversation about that.
Mm.
You know what I mean? Like it wasn't, you know, and I wasn't offended. His tonality wasn't, you know, I don't know. It's just, I can't really avoid it because it's in the work that I do. If you go to my website, there are multiple projects I'm part of that are on my website. Where it's obvious, oh, she has multiple sclerosis, you know.
Yeah.
And I think it's interesting, Kyle. Interesting is a dead word. I think it's compelling, and it's kind of like nice to hear that other people with MS kind of lead with it. It's in the past. I have led with it in a similar way that you have, Kyle. Like
Okay.
I've been very like, and I have MS, you know, like very much, very upfront.
Yeah, I just had somebody reach out to me wanting to tell their hopefully significant other that they have MS, but they don't know how to approach it. Like they feel like they've talked to this person for so long and they feel like they've been lying to them and that they're not showing their true selves. And I mean,
Yeah, it's
it is very complicated.
But isn't it weird that it feels like, at least to me, like it feels like a burden. My worry is that it's a burden to someone else. You know what I mean?
Absolutely. 100%.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I feel like I'm always a burden.
Mhm.
I feel that way, whether I am or not. When I go to a group event, I think, oh, am I going to be burdened? Will they be enough space in the room to accommodate a huge wheelchair? And I don't like being the center of attention. I don't like taking all the oxygen in the room for my disability. I have a full, huge life, and I have MS tagged along on my life. I don't lead with my MS, but it's a part of me. But I feel I'm burdened. I am burdened to everyone around me. And it's true, I am.
Yeah.
I feel that too.
Yeah, I do too.
Nobody will say, "Oh yeah, you're definitely a burden."
See, I like way try to overcompensate to avoid being a burden no matter what.
Yeah.
Which can be exhausting.
Which can be what?
Exhausting.
Oh yeah.
Totally exhausting. Yeah.
But it goes back to like what you were saying, Elizabeth, about loving yourself and loving your MS. Like to me, that's when I envision really stepping into that fully then I don't feel like a burden, because I'm like, this is who I am and it's not a burden. But is that, maybe they're two separate things entirely and I'm just tangling them up?
I think it's everything. It's a mess. It's just our lovely mess, the messiness of chronic disease and progressive disease. It's not pretty. It's not just very messy, nice and lovely and beautiful and awful. It's all the divine mess. And
Yeah.
I say I love my MS. I'm proud of it. But I also know that I'm starting to lose my voice. When I totally lose my voice, then I can't use my hands, can't use my legs. If I lose my voice, I'm not going to be a lovely spokesperson for equanimity. I tell you that much. I'm going to be grumpy and miserable and talking in the phone to you guys.
You'll have to learn how to say fuck you another way.
Yeah. Oh, yes, I do. I will.
Definitely.
I'm going to jump in, everybody. This has been a fabulous conversation. I know you could probably go for, eons.
Yeah.
And you all have brought up some really interesting things. And I want to say to the people watching, if you do have questions, please feel free to put it in the chat box. I know some people have raised their hands, but we need it in the chat box. I do want to say that somebody wants to share their story. And I'm going to unmute her in just a moment. But before I do that, I think it's interesting that Elizabeth said that she feels like the elephant in the room, that she sucks all the oxygen out of a room because she's unavoidable, her wheelchair. And I'm just curious that whether it's, so hers is very physically obvious, that do any of you also feel that way regardless of how you think people perceive you? Do you feel like that ever? I'm just curious.
Oh yeah. But like with my walker, I feel like I'm pushing a giant shopping cart with me everywhere I go. I feel like I am the elephant in the room, quite literally. And yeah.
Angela Dawson Milton, OMG.
So I'm gonna
Mama Janet. This is gonna be great, guys. She's brilliant and amazing. My mom's sorority sister from college.
so
And Kyle,
go ahead.
what? Oh, me or Angie?
Well, Angela, I just asked her to unmute herself. So Angela.
Did it work?
It did.
You hear me? Okay. Well, good evening, ladies and gentlemen. And thank you, Jessica, for inviting me. My name is Angela, and my background is I was diagnosed with MS about over 30 years ago. And when I was diagnosed, my very first symptoms, I was in law school. So I was in Davis, California, just doing what I do. And so when you brought up the topic of I have forgotten now. What is, yes, sorry. Yes, it reminded me that, and I don't really know how to define vanity, but I think it has something to do with self-image and what we are projecting forward. But it reminds me about a woman who I worked with a little bit, and I hadn't seen her in quite some time, but I ran into her one day. And at that time, I was using a walker. And I had gone from kind of stumbling around to using a cane and finally a walker. Now, by the way, sometimes I have a power wheelchair when I'm out and about. But I ran into this lady and she said to me, "There's Angela, the most elegant woman that I know," or something like that. And I was kind of shocked because I actually, that was said in passing. So I called her a couple days later and I thanked her for saying that. I told her it had been a long time since I viewed myself as elegant, which, by the way, I always had. But to think that she would say that to me, I didn't believe it. Well, what she reminded me of? One is that I see myself differently from what the public are seeing. And she said that elegance is not just, the way I look. It is also the way I am. And she described what she knows of me and how I am in life, how I behave, and the perception that people have of me, that it's very elegant. And ever since then, I've thought about the fact that as much as my condition progressive, I have now secondary progressive relaxing and remitting MS. But it reminded me that most people, I think, are smart enough, perceptive enough to know that to get beyond what they see on the outside and to associate who I am and what I am. And, the wheelchair and the cane and walker, that's kind of, little interesting detail, but it isn't me. And I have to remind myself sometimes that people are seeing past that. Maybe it's not always true, but that's what I tell myself anyway. But I do believe that it is true. And so it helps me go out into the world and be who I am because of that one time when this lady, her name is Benita, told me that I'm the most elegant person that she knows. And I hadn't seen that forever.
That's awesome. Thank you, Angela. You know what? I can't, we can only see your picture, but not your image in the video. And I was just thinking, listening to you, like that your voice sounds so elegant. So it just made me start, I mean it really is an elegant voice. So it just made me think about other senses and how we need to use our other senses to perceive beauty and elegance.
Yeah, I think that's right. Thank you for what you said about my voice.
It's true.
And I believe that has helped me in my career because I've had a career, believe it or not, I was an ADA coordinator for a large department in Seattle. And so I had to talk to people who sometimes were facing the fact that they had a serious medical condition and how it was affecting them at work. And it was up to me to have those conversations with compassion and help people feel okay talking about it. And then, feel okay when they left my office and had to go about their day. So that's one of the things I think that we all have to remind ourselves about is that what you see in the mirror is not necessarily the first thing that other people see when they encounter you. And I find that reassuring because I think, yeah, sometimes what people see, I think they're looking at the walker or the wheelchair, but it's reassuring to me to know that they're not. They're listening to my voice or they're looking at the pretty hat that I'm wearing or the snazzy pants or something. Or just the work that I do, the person that I am. They see that. And that's important. So for me, my vanity is to just maintain myself, the person that I am. And now I have to kind of incorporate, okay, I'm a person with a disability, but that's not all that I am, and it's not defining me.
Angie's amazing. I want to say that.
Sounds like it.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for sharing, Angie. Literally, my heart is just it's such a gift. You're so brilliant. She's so brilliant. It's like, I don't know what to do with it. She's so great.
Well, I am curious after listening to Angela speak. I'm sure you all have like listened and reflected a little bit. I'm curious like how that reframes the discussion that you all had, or if you have new thoughts about it.
I like how Angela reframed it. For me, it broadens the definition, I think, to, I can't say it as articulately, but sort of accepting our whole selves as elegant and not just the way we look, but not just one piece of us. It's like, it could be, I don't know. It broadened it for me, and I appreciate that.
It
It-
broadened it.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, Annie, did I
Okay.
interrupt you?
No.
It broadened it, but I still can't accept it totally. I'm like, I feel like I'm pretty damn disabled and I have to go forward and use my energy to deal with my disability and then deal with my energy to not deny, but go forward, not thinking I'm disabled. So I have a dual existence, I think,
Mhm.
and not thinking about my fear in the future, and not because it's a progressive disease we have, and I keep thinking, no, I take it day at a time, and it'll all be fine. So multiple locuses of energy, like everything's a mess and wonderful.
Do you have any thoughts, Kyle? I'm curious. If you don't, that's fine. I
All
was just curious.
foggy. My mind is all foggy. Over here on the East Coast, it's 9 o'clock and I'm sleepy and
Mhm.
I'm just sleepless from last night. It's amazing that I'm here at all.
Yeah.
I was sick last night and
Yeah, I understand. I'm just thankful for all this with Annie and Elizabeth and Angie. I mean, we all have our individual paths, right? It's all different person anyway, but I just specifically hearing Annie and Elizabeth and now Angie speak, I'm thankful that as a younger person, I'm able to ingest your truth, you know, and I can like feel it in my gut. I'm like, yeah, I'm not there. like I understand what all of you are saying, like it makes sense. But I'm just in this moment of not running away from my diagnosis, but like running away from my diagnosis, you know?
Yeah, that's sort of like Elizabeth. I think what you said, Elizabeth, like broadens it for me too. And it frees me up. Like there's no there. We're all kind of living a dual existence, trying to figure it out, multiple existences, trying to figure it out. It's messy. It is. And so I don't know if there's anywhere to get, but try and be gentle with ourselves. But I like I love the word messy. That's a good word.
yeah.
Yeah, it's such a true word.
And
Because-
Jessica, you're just a baby. You're so young. And Kyle, you're so young. I feel like I'm an old, wise one, hopefully, in my
You're the
years.
wise one. You're not old.
Well, thank you. I'm not old. I'm just
Why?
progressing, whatever. But I love my life with MS. But it doesn't mean I love my life all the time with my MS. I've never been more ambitious. my life that I am now with my MS, which doesn't mean I'm not cranky or that I'm not having smile face on everything. And I just want to inspire you, Kyle and Jessica, because you can do, I hopefully you can do whatever you want.
Mhm.
And I would really like to inspire you.
Well, you do. I'll tell you that. Like, I so look up to you, and I really, really, really hope I can get to where you are mentally. Thank you, wise one.
Yeah,
Well,
thank
and Annie, Annie, I'm always going to be looking up to Annie. So
Stop it. I'm a mess. We're all a mess. It's all right.
we're all a mess.
Well, I do want to say that even though you all say that you're a mess, and I've been able to work with Elizabeth enough that it is a beautiful mess oftentimes. And I think that's what makes it so interesting and amazing. But I do want to mention to you that somebody mentioned that all of you look really fly in your own way. So
Thanks.
I'm going to wrap up with that idea. And especially Kyle, thank you. I know this can, and Annie too, since you both are on the East Coast, I know this can be a bit much this late. So I really am
Yeah, thank
appreciative
you.
Oh, I'm glad to be here.
for that.
You too.
So thank you everybody who joined us. We will be doing this again next month. And if you feel like this would be useful to anybody that you know, we'll be doing this every month. And there is a website that you can go to, which is unfixedmedia.com, which is who we partner with, Kimberly Warner for Unfixed Media. So until next time, my friends.
Thank you.
Thanks, y'all.
Bye, guys.